Running is a very all-consuming culture. Most of its adherents are running 6 times a week, some of them 7, some of them 365. There's like a built-in degree of camaraderie, also competition. There's a lot of people helping each other better themselves. Something that running has taught me is to grab onto the things that I can do, that I'm good at, that I'm interested in, and make the most of those things. So perhaps that's another way of saying be grateful for what you do have. Maybe losing my sight has helped me to gather a new sense of appreciation for life that I don't know if I'd have it otherwise. I'm currently preparing for the Auckland Half Marathon in a couple of weeks. That is a race that I've done twice before. This time I am hoping to break the New Zealand visually impaired record, or T13, which is my category.
Yeah, today we'll just do some like K reps out in here. We've got enough space to like 1 out, like a 40 jog, turn around, and then like 1 back. Should be pretty cruisy, just half marathon pace.
Easy.
I am blind. It's called Retinitis Pigmentosa. Being legally blind and having no sight at all are 2 different things. So I would say I'm low vision, but I still can perceive a degree of sight in the very center of my eyes. When it comes to running, I've found myself surrounded by some pretty amazing runners and friends who have normalized a pretty obsessive amount of training. So things have escalated pretty quickly.
So at the moment we're pretty much running together like 4 times a week. So usually a couple of those just be an endurance run. But at the moment with the half marathon stuff, I've been really focusing on just locking in that half marathon pace. I think a big thing for Michael maybe compared to an able-bodied runner would just be they're just feeling comfortable at the pace. Right, ready to roll off, man? Yeah. Rolling off now. 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Logan's an incredibly thoughtful, intuitive man who's very generous with his time. Throughout the winter, has literally gone the extra mile for me.
This is my first time guiding a visually impaired athlete, and it's been a really cool experience. Just out with him. Communication, I think we've sort of learned that really like less is more. Most of it I think we do with just Michael being aware of how I'm moving, and he always tells me like he knows I'm about to move left, I think before even I do, you know, just look at those subtleties of moving the shoulder. Usually the only time I'll say anything is to really point something out that needs attention.
A remarkable skill of Logan's is how economically he can express something. So first of all be perhaps the distance, so that I will know where to respond, where to look with that residual vision that I have, what the obstacle is, and then usually a command like follow me or going left. So in 4 or 5 words, I'll have a very clear picture.
I think it's something that we've really like worked on together, but it's a lot easier than you think once you kind of get in sync.
I was scouted on Queen Street a long time ago. Here we are, 14 years later, and somehow still doing this. I've modeled for a lot of brands. It's a pretty exhaustive list. I first moved overseas to New York for some years, and Paris and Milan, and I don't know, all the big fashion centers, I suppose, but New York and Paris were my main markets. So shooting for I Love Ugly today. I've been working with them for maybe 13, 14 years. So we're shooting e-commerce.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, the bread and butter of modeling in most brands is e-commerce. You know, people shopping off the website. And so everything's pretty mapped out in my head as to where to start, the movements. And these guys are all pretty intuitive. Like instead of pointing me to go one way, it'll be like, you know, do a rotate to the left or step slightly to the left. Because from where I'm standing, I have no idea what's going on over here. So yeah, practice makes perfect and intuition are both parties. The first symptom of this condition is having reduced capacity for night vision. So first you go night blind. That wasn't too much concern. It did lead me to go and get checked out by an ophthalmologist, and the inevitability of having a blinding condition was explained to me. That's quite an affecting thing to be told. However, I would say that being told something and digesting that reality would be two different things. So for much of my 20s, I didn't talk about this. It was probably psychologically quite a large thing to keep under the surface. But as my vision progressed, and also perhaps as my confidence about myself grew in some senses in the last couple of years, I have been more open to talking about it and not feeling apologetic about having this condition, but being able to use what vision I do have, so not being limited. So Tade is my guide dog, and he came into our lives a year and a half ago. But yeah, he's my constant companion. It's a beautiful relationship that just keeps expanding in wonderful new ways.
Good boy. Good boy.
Tane accompanies me nearly everywhere that I go. Because I can only see in the very center of my eye. He keeps me out of harm's way.
Yep.
Steady, steady.
Oh, pole.
Steady.
Alrighty. Okay, so we'll wait there, Michael.
Yes.
Good boy. They're a graduated team, but it's still really new, you know, 1 year in, and they've got a working life of about, till they're around 10 or 11 years of age. So today we're going to set up a dog distraction exercise so that Michael and Tane can practice walking past dogs and getting the focus back onto the handler rather than the distraction. Okay, we'll turn around here. So we'll do dog on dog first. So we'll go to the right of the pole.
He was very boisterous early on, perhaps too easily distracted by things. But I think already in a year, he and I have got to know each other much better. We have our sort of secret language together.
Boy, good boy, leave it.
Good, well done,
boy.
well done. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and we can do it back again.
Over time, he's calming down.
Straight
Good
on.
boy. Good boy. Straight, straight.
I can trust that he's going to stay on task and not just steal food off children wherever possible.
I think as a team, it's not just all about Tane. It's about Michael and Tane. It's their development. You know, it's the consistency that Michael can provide to Tane, as well as the consistency that Tane provides to Michael in the guiding work.
Tane has certainly changed my life. Just him bringing some light to the environment, which is what Tane means, the god of light. He brings light and joy into our lives, for sure. So I am studying a New Zealand poet called Michelle Leggett, who would be one of our most awarded living poets. She was our first poet laureate. One aspect of her poetry is that she has explored the process of losing her eyesight from the same blinding condition that I have. It's called Retinitis Pigmentosa. So there are some overlaps or parallels in our experience. The way that she writes is extremely powerful, but also how she articulates it. One of the biggest challenges in losing my sight professionally speaking is that I've studied for a long time to critically engage with texts. As my sight has lessened, I've had to start using text-to-speech technology. Hey Siri. Open Seeing AI. Over the past 3 years, I've been doing my best to move to text-to-speech means of connecting with literature and using various adaptive technologies to do so.
We'll enter the shadows under the bridge at noon for the tests are successful and service may be resumed sooner than expected.
So trying to create a kind of suite of apps or ways of accessing information. So we've got this beastie here is something that Blind Low Vision helped me to get my hands on. And this one is very good for using its camera. You can perhaps see that this is like inverted the text, made it bolder, you can change colors, etc., etc. So I've got like quite intense magnification glasses. Without these on, this is largely blurry, I suppose. I put these on when I'm in close proximity. I think you sort of get up here, and I'm like, with the nature of my condition is it's like seeing through a straw, so I can focus on like one word at a time, scan across that word, and I'll like come to understand the word in its entirety. So it's a laborious process putting together, you know, each word, each line, each sentence, each paragraph, each chapter, each book. So, you know, that's helping me to utilize the remaining sight that I have. My laptop has various programs on it that do similar functions that are helping me adapt to learning that way. But I would say that a big challenge has been navigating the resistance I feel towards embracing some of that technology. Yeah, this world of words, which I've spent such a long time engaging with, and I don't mean to stop. I'm focused on getting this PhD thesis done and running some good races, and I think the future will take care of itself. So I am currently in final stretches of training for the Auckland Half Marathon. The build for that started 6 or so months ago. The downside of all of this running, obsession with doing more and more and surrounding yourself by people who have been doing this for decades, is that playing catch up is pretty rife with injury risk, and unfortunately I've copped one to my hip. Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic about it at present, and I'm getting some pretty expert treatment for it. A little bit like unstable on that left.
When the left leg's behind.
Yeah.
If you do some jumping, just on 2 feet.
No problem.
No problem, and hopping on each side.
Yeah, so that's pretty uncomfortable.
Okay. Out of 10?
I'd call that like a 4, maybe.
And if you go on the right side as well? Any pain there?
No.
Right, if you jump on your back for me.
Yes.
So for Michael, it's pretty complicated. There's a few things going on. Because he's an athlete, there's a lot of layers to it. But the underlying injury is what we call femoroacetabular impingement, which is pretty much when either the acetabulum or the head of the femur isn't super congruent with each other.
Yeah, that's good.
Not too tender. But because he's an athlete, we've got to peel all the layers back and make sure that his body is able to cope with the load that he's doing. So if it's too much, just let me know.
No, that's good. The Paralympics is something it's only just come onto my radar as even a remote possibility, but what a phenomenal thing that would be. I mean, it's in Paris. That was where I walked my kind of formative, important runway shows. I feel like, you know, running on the track there, that would be quite a bizarre full circle moment.
Yeah.
So I've been doing like...
How does that feel?
It's good.
That's fine, like no pain or anything, eh? And go through some lunges on both sides.
At this stage, I think it was a very valid concern to be like, I can barely walk on this leg. Is it a good idea to be doing a half marathon in 10 days' time? But also just remarkable that the body can turn a corner. So this is looking very positive.
So it seems like you're doing your clams really well. Any questions?
No, that's great. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
Michael is a very kind, charismatic, warm person. He's incredibly intelligent. When I first met Michael, I didn't know that he had any visual impairment. In fact, I think he had maybe only just started speaking about it. Actually, on our very first date, we went out to coffee and he had his ID cane with him, which he used at the time, which was very new to him. Maybe you just sit over on this side.
Yeah, sure.
Watching Michael become, I guess, more comfortable with his disability has honestly been really quite eye-opening for me.
Okay, what are you feeling? So, snacks, the smaller plates are so ceviche, a pork dish, pineapple.
It's something that changes throughout people's lives and is also really a different experience for everyone. Like, I think everyone has misconceptions about blindness and low vision when you first hear the term. And for me and throughout our relationship, Michael's vision loss in different environments, it affects him very drastically. Like when we're out of the home.
This is an app called Seeing AI. It will scan documents and process them into high contrast white text on a black background, which is what I see best. So that saves Maker a little bit of explaining.
Michael's acceptance in using mobility aids has certainly made that kind of disappear and become a real non-issue for us.
With my changing eyesight, I feel like the biggest surprise in our relationship has been my development of a running obsession.
When I first met Michael, I never thought I'd be signing up for a life of this much running. I mean, he's out running almost every day.
Looking forward to the run.
Yeah, it's coming up fast.
For me, the idea of running with limited vision is terrifying. So every time he goes out for a run, I kind of hold my breath. But Michael's really learnt how to navigate having limited sight while running.
Sir, this is the grilled chicken.
Very good. Oh wow, this looks great.
Seeing his confidence come out, it just makes me really proud of him as his partner. And Tane and Michael's relationship has grown incredibly over the last year of having him. When they first met, it was a lot of evenings of Michael sitting in bed pondering how he could get Tane to like him more.
Wow.
Yeah, Tane definitely brings out Michael's goofy side. There are always play fighting. Most mornings when I come out of the bedroom, Tane and Michael are play fighting on the ground. It's so goofy and they're just so animated together, which is so fun to watch.
Yeah, he's signaling that he wants some TLC. You know, he's such a good working dog for much of the day, so it's nice to let him be pretty silly after hours. We do a lot of wrestling.
So much wrestling, eh, birdie?
Yeah.
He loves cuddles.
Yeah, marauding. I'm feeling good. Really feeling grateful to be here with Logan. Although it's looking very windy this morning, everyone's going to be in the same boat, so to speak, and my hip's been improving over the past week. So I'm happy, I'm ready. Just got to get the thing done now.
First, from my point of view, I think the first kind of few key things are just going to be keeping everything under control and relaxed at the start, but then it's just about finding a rhythm, and then I think before we know it, we'll be on the other side of the bridge and coming in. You know, you do all of this training, all of the grind, and then the gun goes off, and that's where the fun starts. Fingers crossed we get this thing done.
I hope he's going to do well. I personally get very nervous on half marathon days for Michael because there's a lot of unpredictables in the environment. For example, you know, the weather forecast, so I have no idea how that's going to turn out.
So I don't know if you can tell, but the wind has come up pretty significantly. I mean, it's a bit of a windy course, so there will be periods, you know, it'll be at our back, that's always welcome. Not so much when you're running straight into it.
Alrighty, let's make our way towards the start line, athletes. The only other thing probably with the wind is it can just like make communication a little bit more difficult. So a little bit like harder to hear means I might have to yell a little bit harder, but that's probably actually the only thing really, is just making sure we stay nice and close and think about which side you're running on so that we can like still communicate well, because there's a bit of wind noise and stuff out there, and combine that with people out on the road yelling.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everybody. Awesome. 1,000 on you. 800.
I'm feeling good. It always takes a few minutes to warm up. Once I get going, it can kind of fade into the background, but it's just having faith that it's going to ease off over time. And like everyone else, just trying to find a rhythm to relax into, trying to keep relaxed and move well. It was beautiful. Yeah, we were just gliding, there was jokes along the way, a beautiful morning. There were some moments where the wind was like uncomfortable, running into that, because it just kind of throws your rhythm slightly, but we were rolling, it was pretty comfortable, and yeah, came in under the time that we wanted. A big PB for myself. I think it was 14:21. It's like a little under what the previous national record was, 3.5 minutes under my last PB, so a big improvement. I'm very happy with this time, but it's also further encouragement to keep chipping away.
PB for Michael, and also a national record for his classification as well. So it's pretty awesome. First national record ticked off, and we'll start having a crack at a few more.
I started running during lockdown, running in the middle of some of those roads because there was no cars on them, and so running this course in particular reminds me of doing that. Future goals, the Paralympics would be a marvelous thing to have happen. It sort of seems quite surreal and unrealistic, but I suppose I can but try. So yeah, we'll be going for that night and day, and that would be amazing. Finishing my doctorate, training hard, and continuing to enjoy my beautiful relationship, balancing those things. It's a happy Michael.